Create a fertile oasis for yourself. Xiefeng. May 17, 2025. Each day, I dwell in joy, freedom, happiness, and contentment. I am wholly embraced by nature. Here, there are no bustling streets or noisy crowds, no thieves or oppression, only rippling lakes and lush forests. Birds soar through the sky, rest on the branches, forage by the lake, and play freely. There are no fierce storms, no earthquakes or volcanoes, and no worldly commotion. Everything is tranquil, natural, serene, and harmonious. My only inner state is one of gratitude, contentment, and cherishing. From a human perspective, to live to this extent and in such a realm is the highest state. I no longer pursue anything, whether in food, clothing, shelter, or transport, whether fame, fortune, or status, I am fully satisfied. If not for glimpses of the world's events through my phone, would truly believe the world is peaceful and harmonious, and that all people live in abundance, joy, and security. But of course, the reality is that over 200 million people are struggling just to survive. Hundreds of millions are displaced, jobless, and living in fear and uncertainty. Millions more are caught in war zones under ceaseless bombardment. At least 80% of humanity lives each day engulfed in worry, pain, anxiety, sorrow, and strife. Hurricanes, floods, dust storms, searing heat, and plagues sweep across the land. Countless people, powerless and afraid, are driven toward the end of life with no defense. What a sorrowful chapter of the human story. And so, I have come to understand a quiet truth of life. Create a fertile oasis for yourself. Once you have created such an oasis, the winds and sandstorms of the world can no longer reach you. Everything becomes calm. You are clothed and fed, find joy in your own company, and live in carefree delight. Most precious of all, you can enjoy a deep and boundless peace of mind. You rise with the sun and rest with its setting. The conflicts and clashes between people, the battles of opinions and desires, fade away. The worldly scenes of flashing lights, vanity, noise, and comparison fall behind. Only then can you truly savor the wonder and mystery of life. How can one create such a fertile oasis? I think of the three girls, Qian, Jiao, and Huan. I met them 17 years ago. Through 17 springs and winters, we have shared the same spiritual space, holding each other dearly in the world of the soul. No quarrels, no doubts, no betrayals. I believe they have each built their own fertile oasis. No matter how the world changes, no matter how the scenery shifts along the journey, they move forward with calm and steady steps, maintaining the purity and yearning of a child. And it is not only the three of them, there are many other girls and boys who have done the same. To create a fertile oasis for yourself is to build a space untouched by the external world. Even if the sky collapses, even if floods drown the earth, even if the heavens and earth turn upside down, even if light vanishes from the universe, that oasis will still shine with bright sunlight and teem with life. Its green mountains and clear waters will remain endlessly beautiful. Once you have created such a fertile oasis, life becomes infinitely beautiful, and your life flows into eternal bliss. The Code of Happiness. Xiefeng. May 23, 2025. Happiness is a state of consciousness in which one feels content with the present. Wearing open-crotch pants, living in a shabby hut, eating coarse grains and simple vegetables, with not a penny in your pocket, yet still feeling joyful and satisfied, that is a happy life. Serving as a corporate chairman, living in a luxurious villa, driving fancy cars, with billions in the bank, guarded by 100 bodyguards and waited on by 100 servants, yet feeling constantly troubled and discontent with life, that is a life of misery. From this, we understand that the dividing line between happiness and suffering lies in whether one is content with the present. Thus, the code of happiness is gratitude, contentment, and cherishing. Without a grateful heart, one cannot live a happy life. Without contentment with the present, one cannot live a happy life. Without cherishing what surrounds you and the life you are living now, one cannot live a happy life. We can then see clearly. What blocks, hinders, and obstructs our happiness are ingratitude, greed, and waste. So how can we cultivate gratitude, contentment, and a sense of cherishing, rather than falling into ingratitude, greed, and waste? Happiness or unhappiness is a feeling of consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the key to happiness. How, then, can we develop a consciousness of gratitude, contentment, and cherishing? The answer: by possessing a noble quality of life. What is a noble quality of life? It is this: a life whose soul garden is free of weeds and poisons such as comparison, competitiveness, envy, complaint, blame, resentment, greed, arrogance, and doubt, and instead full of blossoms such as truth, kindness, beauty, love, trust, sincerity, peace, and humility, is a life with noble quality. From this, we discover that happiness has little to do with material wealth, or even spiritual wealth, but everything to do with soul wealth. We can therefore conclude: a happy life belongs only to those who are rich in soul wealth. Those who are poor in soul wealth will never live a truly happy life. Their entire lives will be spent drifting in the boundless ocean of sorrow and suffering. And finally, what determines happiness is not what we can see, hear, or touch, but what we cannot see, hear, or touch.